Hi everyone. Today we're going to make a polymer clay family ornament birdhouse. Birdhouses, I should say. And I'm making this for like a grandma and her grandchildren. You can make it for parents, as many children as you want. If you do it for parents, then do two bird heads in the top birdhouse. All right, let's get started. We are going to cut our hook to begin with. And we're going to roll out a sheet of white paper, white clay, and this will be our backing clay. And we're going to make quite a few candy cane ropes. And for those of you who are new, this is how we do our candy canes. Put the two ropes, a rope of white and a rope of red together, twist, and then roll it to the size you want. And the birdhouses are going to be on candy cane poles. I am making my birdhouses kind of a weathered gray. You can make gray by mixing a little bit of black into white, maybe 1 part black to 6 parts white. I would start with a little bit and keep going until you have the clay color you want. Just mix it all together. Use your pasta machine if you have one, it's easier. And if you have little striations in there because you haven't mixed it completely, that's okay because we want it to have kind of a weathered old barn board look. But of course, you can make your birdhouses any color you want. You don't have to make them gray. And now I just roll out the gray, cut it into a rectangle, and then I'm going to cut out my little birdhouses. It's very easy. You don't even need a cookie cutter for this. Put a little point right in the middle and then cut your roof line down from that point. I'm using a knife because I don't use a blade. You can use a blade, you can use your X-Acto knife, or you can use your needle tool. I think for doing this, the knife or the blade would be better because you get one cut. Now you can make the top birdhouse just a little bit bigger if you're putting in two bird heads. And like I said, I'm doing grandma and 4 grandchildren. Next, we're going to put on our poles. Just kind of press them on to the white. And we're going to start with the top one. Now don't flatten your poles. Keep them nice and round. I flattened it at the top a little bit where the birdhouse goes. And we just keep going until we have all the birdhouses on there. And I put cardinals into the birdhouse. You can put another bird if you want to. Now you see I trimmed that birdhouse. If you need to trim your birdhouse, go ahead and do it. They don't have to be any specific size. Just do them to fit your ornament. And trim the bottom off. Now we're going to trim around the birdhouse. You can use your X-Acto knife, which if you've watched other videos, I'm not good at that. I prefer the needle tool. I just feel I have more control with the needle tool and will not cut myself. And now I'm going to use the needle tool just to make some lines. Remember, don't cut all the way through. Just make some lines on there to make it look like wood. There you see it. Now we're going to put our hook in before we start all the details. And you know, making an ornament, you're just building up from the bottom, layer by layer. We're going to roll some logs for this is going to be the snow up on the roof. If you don't want it to look like snow, you don't have to pull it down the way I do to make it look like the snow is melting or there's icicles hanging down. But it is a Christmas ornament and there is snow in the winter, so I think it'd be cute. See, kind of do that to make it look like the snow is coming down. And if you want to make this ornament for grandparents, something they can hang on the wall, then you don't have to do a Christmas theme. You just a woodsy theme or a spring or fall scene, summer. And change the candy cane poles to just wooden poles. And there we have all our birdhouses with their roof on. Next, we are going to do, I don't remember. I did this video 2 years ago. Ah, yes. We are going to do the little strip on the bottom where you will put the names. And I did not do this in white, I did it in the gray because the names will show up on the gray. And remember when you're placing your birdhouses that you got to put that strip of clay at the bottom of the house, so you don't want your house to overlap too much with the other houses. And we're going to put a strip of white at the bottom. Now this is snow, so it doesn't have to be smooth or absolutely straight. Now this ornament is about 5 inches tall. I used the end of my needle tool to make the hole for the birdhouse. And on this one, I'm just going to have the bird heads sticking out. No, I'm not making green birds. This is just going to be the interior of the house and the hole. I haven't seen too many green birds now that I think about it, except for maybe parrots, and I don't think I've even seen a green parakeet. Hmm, may have to look into that. But I'm sure there's plenty of green birds out there. Now, if you've ever watched my, excuse me, my video on making the bald eagle, I do watch a bald eagle nest in the National Arboretum in Washington, D.C., and they just started the live streaming of the nest, and they did not have eggs last year, but hopefully they will this year. Now we're just making round red balls for the bird heads, and they're going to be very simple. My mother's favorite color was red, and she always fed the birds in the winter, and she would have the trees filled with red cardinals. They would wait for her to come out the back door and put the bird seed out. It was just so funny. Now I'm just texturing the green around the bird head to make it look kind of like a wreath. And if you make more than the 5, you don't have to make a pole for each one. You can kind of put the birdhouses on either side, add them on, but you don't have to make a pole for every single birdhouse. It could be in the background where you don't see it. And of course, my holly. I think I may have put that on a little too early because I know I'm going to put the star on there. And the star will also get the holly leaves. And I have to say, I did not make this for my mother. My mother was already, she had passed away in 2010, and my father passed away a week after she did. Uh, but this is just, I just put the names on there to show how it can be personalized. My parents have 6 grandchildren. And I'm just using the knitting needle to do this. And someone asked about what size knitting needle I used, and I don't know. I don't knit. I just got them at the thrift store, and it's a thin knitting needle. It's not very long and it's not very thick. And I didn't see any numbers on it, so I have no idea what size it is. I think crochet hooks usually have numbers on them, but I didn't see anything on the knitting needle. I like using the bright yellow. You don't have to use bright yellow. You can use a lighter yellow if you want. You can even make the star in white if you want. Now, if you want to put the family name at the bottom there, put your star up a little higher, maybe where the holly leaves are in the middle pole. But since I did grandma with grandchildren, they might not all have the same last name. So I put the star right there. Oh my goodness, I think I've got the hiccups. Take a sip of coffee. That's a lot of holly leaves. I did a star family ornament once, and the family wanted, I think it was 12 or 13 little stars on the bottom, and it was the grandparents and the grandchildren, and each one of those little stars had holly leaves and a berry on it. Oh my goodness. But it came out nice. And now we're doing the little red berries. But we have to finish our birds when we're done with the little red berries because all we have right now are little ball heads in there. So, And the one thing I want you to do when you do the birds, uh, don't have them all looking in the same direction. Now we're going to make little black beaks. And don't have, like I said, have the beaks go in different directions so you can do the eyes looking one way or the other. Well, that one didn't want to work. Let's get him back on there. It's the morning and I'm having my coffee, so my voice may sound a little bit rough today. And it's cold outside. Ooh. Now you notice how not all the beaks are going in the same direction. I want you to make sure you don't make them all look straight ahead. And now these are cardinals, so they need that little tuft of red on top of their head. I guess the birdhouses look too plain for me, so I had to put a little candy cane rope on top. You don't have to do that, but it does add a nice little touch, especially for the Christmas ornament. Now, if there's ever any kind of ornament you would like me to try to make, just let me know in the comments below. I read all your comments and I try to get back and answer every one of them. It might take me a day or so sometimes, but I will get to it. And now, when you put these on, make sure you don't cover the gray part where you want to put your name. Here come the little tufts for their head. Is that what it's called? A tuft on top of their heads? I don't know. But that is what the little red cardinals have. So, and I know the male cardinal is the one that's all red, and the female cardinal is not all red. But let's just pretend that, yes, These are all boys and girls, and we know Grandma's a girl. We just want to make them all red. Let's say the females have red heads. I have my brother's little doggy in here with me today, and he's being very good. He's being nice and quiet. He usually stays with me when my brother goes to dialysis. He leaves very early in the morning, 3 days a week. Well, we take him. Then I have to pick him up. But that's when the little doggy comes and stays with me. And we try to get our work done. I played around with this ornament for quite a while before I got it to how I wanted it. And there it is. And notice the eyes, they're all kind of looking in different directions. And I hope you enjoyed that. And I will see you next time. And if you have questions or comments, leave them below. And don't forget to like and subscribe.